So when I talked about chattel slavery initially and focused on the transatlantic slave trade, I saw some of y'all trying to check me. And listen, if you thought I left something out, you're right to speak on it. Because if I'm going to talk about Black displacement, I can't leave out how we were trafficked across every direction, not just the Atlantic. But let's be very clear. There were no untruths in what I said. What I shared was one part of a much bigger system. So today I'm going to break down the other part, one they rarely talk about, the Arab slave trade. Most of us are taught about the transatlantic slave trade, right? Where European nations kidnapped and enslaved over 12 million Africans and shipped them to the Americas. But long before that started, another massive slave system was already in place, the Arab slave trade. This began around the 7th century, just after the rise of Islam, and it lasted for over 1,200 years. That's twice as long as the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans, estimates say anywhere from 10 to 20 million, were taken from East, Central, and parts of West Africa and sold across North Africa, the Middle East, Persia, the Arabian Peninsula, and even parts of India, Pakistan, and Southeast Asia. Here's the key thing. This wasn't one single trade route. It was a whole network made up of two major routes that we're going to break down next. So we're going to talk about the trans-Saharan slave trade, which is just the first part of the Arab system. The trans-Saharan slave trade, it involved moving enslaved people north, across the Sahara Desert, into places like Egypt, Libya, Morocco, and Tunisia. And this was done through caravans, which, if you don't know, included huge groups of camels and traders moving through brutal desert conditions. People walked for hundreds of miles in chains without enough water or food. Thousands died just trying to get to the slave market. So who were the victims? Most were young boys and girls from places like Mali, Niger, Chad, and Sudan. The boys were often castrated and made to serve in royal palaces, harems, and courts. The girls were sold as concubines, house servants, and entertainers. The violence was extreme, but so was the erasure. Most of these people never got the chance to build families. Many never made it out of servitude. And because they were often forced to assimilate, their history was wiped out. No records, no surnames, no lineage left behind. So Route 2, under the Arab system, is the Indian Ocean slave trade, which ran east, not north. This route took people from East Africa, places like Tanzania, Kenya, Mozambique, and Madagascar, and shipped them across the Indian Ocean to the Arabian Peninsula, Iran and Iraq, parts of India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, even Indonesia and southern China. This trade lasted over 1,000 years. And just like the Trans-Saharan route, it focused on Black labor, sexual exploitation, and military service. In India and Pakistan, enslaved Africans became soldiers, guards, palace staff, or enslaved women for royal households. Many of their descendants are actually still there today, but they're often marginalized and forgotten. So why don't we hear about this as much as we hear about the transatlantic? One word: erasure. Many enslaved men were castrated, so they couldn't have families. Others were absorbed into Arab and Asian societies, renamed, converted, and stripped of all identity. There was no diaspora like we see in the Americas, because so many people were intentionally erased. And because Arab and Muslim societies never really publicly confronted their role in slavery, there's no global reckoning, no memorials, no documentaries, no widespread education, just silence. So yeah, I focused on the transatlantic slave trade in my last video, because that's our direct link, especially here in the Americas. But if we're talking about Black displacement and stolen lives, we do have to talk about all of it. The Arab slave trade, the Trans-Saharan route, the Indian Ocean route. 3 names, 1 system. One long history of Black people being stolen, used, erased, and never properly accounted for. So we honor them, even the ones we don't know. Because we're not just survivors of one trade. We're survivors of every direction they dragged us. And the world still owes all of us answers.